Hey guys, alright, so we're going to do Vectorworks for lighting. We're going to basically be taking the same project that we did in Lighting 2 and we'll complete it now in Vectorworks. So we will set up our areas, our acting areas. We will then put focus points in those acting areas and design 3 washes, so 3 angles of light on the Martin Experimental Theater drafting. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop up on Schoology in this lighting rep plot drafting folder. There is a new version. It has the pipes and they're in a better situation. So I'm going to download 3, 2, 1 second left, 0 second left. It's downloaded. Awesome. Okay, open sesame. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Let's load her up. There she is. She's opening in her own little window, which is a little strange. What's your deal, bro? You here? You're here? I'm just going to click on this window. Alright, here I am. My first step is going to be to create a separate layer. And you can do this, I know Matthew already started, you can do it on your Campo Maldito file, or you can just do it on this blank file. The difference is the blank file has a better 3D version of the electrics pipes. So all of my pipe grid are more accurately represented in this 3D version. But do what you want to do. Let's go back into top plan view. That was Control 5. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create a new layer. And there are a couple of ways to add one, but I'm going to just right click and add a new layer. It's a design layer. I'm going to call it focus points. And everything else will be the same. Let's click this edit properties after creation. So this will then pop up and I'll make sure that everything that I want is correct. So the one thing I'm going to change is this elevation. So something that I set up for you guys, which is pretty helpful for lighting, was I set the elevation of the layer at 15 feet 0 inches. So basically anytime you add a light on the light plot or on the lighting positions layer, the floor for those specific layers will be 15 feet, which is the height of the grid. So that means you won't have to like change your bottom Z on each individual light to 15 feet. They'll all just come in at 15 feet. These focus points I don't want to be floating 15 feet off of the ground, so I'm going to change their elevation back to 0 inches. It's a good shortcut. It was designed, the reason that it gives you that option of setting up a specific height like that is that this software was designed with architects in mind. So architects, each floor of a building, each story of the building would have a different layer elevation. And so I use that mostly for lighting if I have like a pipe grid or something like that, so that everything else that comes in on that layer will show up at that height in my 3D model. So it's a good shortcut. But our focus points, we actually don't want that. We want them to be based off of someone standing on the ground, not someone standing on the grid. So there they are, and I just moved them. So you'll notice over here, you can get this thing that looks like a transparent sheet of paper. Once I had them, they came in, the new layer came in up here at the top, but I actually want it to be down here, right by the seating layer. So this stacking is actually the order in which things appear. That's why, for example, the lighting positions are on top of the chairs visually. When you look at it, it'll put the lighting positions in front of the seating. Similarly, it would put the lighting instruments in front of the lighting positions, because on your light plots, you're going to want to see the image of the instrument outline and not the pipe sitting on top of it. So that's why that's set up that way. So that's why the light plot is the very top layer, then lighting positions, then everything else, in basically the order from top to bottom that you would see it all appear. So my focus points is what I'm going to work on now. For that, I can even turn off the light plot, and the lighting positions because focus points are just setting up acting areas, right? I'm going to do the exact same thing that we did with the 8-foot circles in lighting class, but I'm going to do it with Vectorworks now. So I'm going to grab the circle tool. I'm going to draw an 8-foot circle. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to hit tab 4 feet because it's asking for a radius, and there is an 8-foot circle. I'm going to make it transparent because it doesn't need to have a fill, but I'm going to come over here and change the pen to some color other than black so that it stands out off of everything. And then the other thing I'm going to do is change the line, like with this line weight, to a line type, okay? And then if I click on the name of it, it'll give me some different dashed lines to choose from. I'm going to choose this one, ISO 3 dashed spaced. And I'm going to double click on that. So now I have my first lovely little circle. And I'm going to set that in the center, right? And then I'm going to duplicate it. Oh, I'm not going to Alt-D though. I'm going to duplicate it and do one over here, right? For this acting area. And then I'm going to mirror that to the other side. Okay. And I'm going to select these 3. I'm going to duplicate that, except I keep using my Mac keyboard shortcut. I'm going to do, if I line up bottom center, and then I can just hold down Shift and use my down arrow, and I'll nudge it down a little bit so that they overlap a little bit. What do we think? That's pretty good. So let's do that again now. And if it makes you crazy, Fern, you can always align and distribute your first row and then group it and duplicate, and then align and distribute those groups if you need everything to be super aligned up. That's totally an option. I am not that OCD, so sorry guys, that's life. Sometimes your teacher's less OCD than you are. Ooh, but that will want to be centered. So you only need to do these 9 acting areas. If you want to do more, you can, but you don't need to. That is not centered at all, dudes. OMG, what a mess. It's like wildly off center. Is that better? That's better. I think that's better. That's good enough for this game. So now I'm going to take each of these, the center of each of these circles, and I'm going to actually place a focus point on it. So if I come over here to Spotlight, it's not there. Never mind. If I come over here to the Lighting tab, one of the things I can choose right here is a focus point tool. I'm going to start down here. Name that A, sure. Vectorworks is going to automatically name it letters for me, so that's cute, and I'll let it do that. C, D, great. Okay. So now I have my 9 focus points. Okay. When I hit Shift C and I go into a 3D mode, right? My focus point is right there, floating above the ground. My acting areas are on the ground, but my focus points are 5 feet off the ground at about head height. That's awesome. Now I'm going to go back into top plan view. So now I know where my acting areas are. I'm going to go into, turn on these guys. Okay. I'm going to dim down my seating by clicking on the grade eyeball and also my scenery layer in case there was any scenery. If you're doing your Campo Maldito plot, your scenery layer would be there. Okay, so I didn't like how that came out the first time. I'm going to re-record this segment of the video. So I'm going in to figure out which lighting instruments I want to use. So I turn my focus points on so I can see them. I have a couple of lighting instruments off on the side of the drawing, which I will have deleted in your plot, so don't worry about them. But what is important is that I can go to this lighting instrument tool. I can click on it. I can come up here and I can choose a lighting instrument, and they're all in my folder now. If you want a light that is not one of these four, you can scroll down through every light ever and choose whichever lights you want. I'm just going to use one of these four, and I'm going to demonstrate how I would choose which lighting fixture I want. So let's say I started with these 26-degree source 4s as my first guess, right? If I was guessing that I wanted a 26-degree source 4 and I put it, let's put it like here, right, on this, at this spot. And then I'm going to put another one here by B, okay, and another one here by C. I can now focus each light to its focus point. I can say spotlight, focus instruments, focus that on area A. And I can say now spotlight, focus this light on area B. And I can say, and then focus this light, spotlight, on area C. Okay? Once I've done that, I can select all three lights, and I can ask Vectorworks over here to draw the beam. So what that does is it says, okay, if I'm putting this light and it's shining on that acting area, that's the beam that's going to come out for me. I'm not loving it, right? It's a little bit too close together. I can grab that light and drag them back. You're still not getting enough overlap. Like if someone stands right there in the center between these two areas, you're definitely not going to have them lit from there. Their head will be in the darkness, and that's not what we're going for. So now I can change the fixture type to something else. So I can say, I don't want that light anymore. I want something else. Oh boy, it's got a lot of options over here. I'm going to scroll down to ETC. Actually, let's see if there's a better way. Device type, light, edit. Oh yeah, here we go. If I click edit, I can go to this symbol, and I can pick a different light. Let's try this source 436-degree. Click OK. See how much better that is? These two are a little different from this one. Did it only do the first one? It only did the first one. So now I can edit this guy, change that to a 36-degree, right? Okay, and this one. And now I know I'm in business, right? Because these beams are all properly overlapped. Everybody's going to be good. If I hit Shift C, you'll see kind of what is going on, and that is that it's drawing those beams at the height of the focus point. So it's actually showing us off of the ground whether those lights are lapping at that acting area the way that you want them to be. Okay, so you can use that as your guide to make sure that your areas are working the way you need them to. Let's go back into top plan. You can see exactly how those lights are overlapping, right? You'll be able to see that if you put this light here, even if you were to put the next light there, you have enough overlap to overlap in that direction as well. So that is how you use Vectorworks to do all of that 3D math for you. And this Hala is the better way, where it's actually modeling what that shape would be vertically at that height, and at whatever angle you're choosing that light to be relative to your area. So with that, I'm going to go back into what past Lily did, which was then after choosing these, copy and pasting them to each area, okay? Focusing all of those lights to each area. Once that has been done, that's when I'm going to come back in, okay? So I would copy and paste these three lights, right? I would select three lights, Control C, Control V. It put them over here, and they're focusing like crazy, something, something. But let's move them back to the center. Now they're almost down lights, right? Because they're still focused at A, B, and C. So I have to change this one, and go up to spotlight, focus instruments, point it at D instead, etc. until I'm happy with everything I got. Okay? And so this has a different angle than that, but it still works. But if I don't like it, I can pull it back a little bit on this pipe. Do whatever you need to do to make it feel like it's all happy, okay? So that's how, or for example, if I wanted this to be diagonal front light instead, maybe I'd put the light over here, right? Maybe I'd pick it up and put it over here, and then it'll be a diagonal front light, okay? So all of these things are options for you, and use Vectorworks to model where your beams will land. All right, so now I'm going to assume that you have placed all of your lights in all of the places that you want them, and we will jump back into the video at the point when I label them with all of the additional information that you might need. Okay, great. The next thing you want to do is you want to do your channel numbers, okay? So channeling is something that Spotlight is set up to help us out with, and we'll do it just the way that we did with our other lights. So we'll come in here the way we did in lighting class. I want to use this I want to use Spotlight numbering, okay? The user field, nothing is selected, that I want to change is the channel. So I just have to click on that so that I know that I'm doing the channel. The numbering option, it's going to tell me to start at 1. It's going to increment by 1. Okay? And I'm going to click OK. So now it says select objects in the order you wish to number them. Double click on any empty space to end numbering. Alright? So this is going to be channel 1. That's going to be channel 2. That's going to be channel 3. You're noticing it's telling you what channel you're doing next as you go. This is going to be channel 4. And this is going to be channel 5. And that's going to be 6. And this is going to be 7, 8, 9. Then I'm going to double click in an empty space. Now that's locked in. Now I'm going to go back to Spotlight numbering, pick it up again, and I'm going to say start at 11. The reason is that I want my next set of channels to match up. So I want the light that's number 1 plus the light that's number 11 plus the light that's number 21. I want all 3 of those powers combined to turn on area A. So I'm going to start over here now. I'm going to call this one 11, that one 12, that one 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Double click in there. You can also click a little checkbox if you want. So there's those. And then I'm going to do the same thing again for the other side, except I want to start at 21. Hollow won't have to do this because she did one more area. So she did 10 areas instead of 9. So her numbers will just line up perfectly. 1, 2, 3, right? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Little check mark. Great. Okay. So, other things I can do in my light plot, right? I don't need my focus points anymore because I already have my lights all focused there, so I can just turn those off. I want to now clean up some of the rest of the labeling, right? So I want to go back and add what color are each of these lights, what instrument number are each of these lights. So instrument numbers, if we remember, are by position. Because I set up the lighting positions for you, your positions should be automatically assigning themselves to the light. So double check if you want, like go around and make sure that each of your lights, but if you look at this position category, it should be filled in for you because I'm a boss and I gave you a template, basically, is why, right? So the cool thing about that is that now that we've put our light plot in, you can go to Spotlight and you can go to Auto Number Positions, and it's going to add those position counts for you, right? It's starting from top to bottom, and it's coming from right to left, just like we would do. If you don't like... No, you would like it to come from top to bottom. Yeah, I think this is the right way to go, right? You can change some of those auto numbering settings if you want. But if you just let it do what it's doing, it's going to count correctly, right? Because it's like, oh, this light's on here. That light is the other light that's on this pipe. This is on this pipe, and then this light, and then this light. Okay, so it just did all of your unit numbers for you. Thank you, Vectorworks. You're the best. So that's super cool. So now we have our unit numbers, we have our channel numbers. Go back in and add a color, right? So if you know, and again, I don't know why these are, let me just make sure that these are not pink for no reason. Meh. If you know that everything in this system is going to be the same color, you just select all these lights together, this whole wash. You can change their purpose to side light, right? You can change their color, R51 to lavender, okay? And now that R51 shows up right in front of their little noses in their little label legend, right? We'll do the same thing over here, except maybe it'll be, instead of lavender, some other color. Maybe it'll be like blue, like no color blue. Let's do R60. R60, purpose, side light. Okay. And then the same thing for these. I can select all of them and change their color. How cool is this, you guys? I just did a whole light plot. Color R08. We're gonna make this, no, I don't think R08 is right. Let's do R02. Let's do a nice golden amber. Okay. So there is your basic light plot. We can go into a little bit more depth about your label legend and how you're going to do your legend and your key a little bit later. But for now, all of this is your step 1 of your assignment. So I would get this far, and then I would save it as your name, Martin Experimental Theater, or Martin, I don't know, or Light Plot Project. Okay? Either of those would be a good way to go. So there you go. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you soon. Safe.